Also in politics this morning, the 2020 race is heating up. In just a few hours, Democrat Pete Buttigieg is expected to officially kick off his presidential campaign. ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman is in South Bend, Indiana, with a look at Mayor Pete and the momentum he's building. Matt, good morning.
Hey, Whit, good morning. That Buttigieg is making that big announcement today is the biggest non-secret in politics. Now, typically in elections, the voters seem to go for someone who is the opposite of the incumbent. And in this case, Buttigieg is offering himself up as the anti-Trump. In his words, he is an intellectual, laid-back, gay mayor from the Midwest who is half the age of the president.
Today I'm going to introduce the mayor, Pete Buttigieg.
The unpronounceable name, now a household name.
All eyes are on South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg.
Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
It's a candidacy full of firsts. He'd be the first mayor to win a nomination, the first openly gay man in office, the first president under 40. The 37-year-old with the Boy Scout looks has cultivated quite a resume. Harvard, Rhodes Scholar, Oxford, the McKinsey consulting firm, and spending years as a U.S. Navy Reserve officer, earning a Joint Service Commendation Medal for his counterterrorism work. He's been slightly vague on political platform, but in his interview with George Stephanopoulos described his plan for Medicare.
Take a version of Medicare, you let anybody who wants to buy into it, and then if people like me are right that that's going to be a preferred option, that very naturally becomes a kind of glide path toward a Medicare for all environment.
As a devout Episcopalian, he's gained most attention for his spat with fellow Hoosier Vice President Mike Pence.
As he seeks to be that person that takes the oath of office to uphold the Constitution, he'd do well to reflect on the importance of respecting the freedom of religion of every American.
I'm not interested in feuding with the vice president, but if he wanted to clear this up, he could come out today and say he's changed his mind, that it shouldn't be legal to discriminate against anybody in this country for who they are.
Now, last night I asked for an advance copy of his speech, and I was told he's not writing it out. Now, even his own aides don't exactly know what he's going to say, but they tell me that he's been thinking about this, obviously, for some time, and it'll be a big speech in front of his hometown crowd here right inside that old Studebaker factory. But there will be no teleprompters, no prepared statements, so in at least that way, Dan, it'll be a little bit like President Trump.
Fair point. It may end there. Matt, thank you very much. Matt Gutman on the ground in Indiana. A lot to talk about this morning, so let's bring in our chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos, who's going to be hosting this week later this morning.
Point of contact.
He did. That's an astute reporter. So, I mean, you've been around. I don't want to, date you here, but you've been around politics for a minute.
Well, you just did. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. That was me basically just doing it on purpose and trying to hide it. You've watched candidates come and go, especially in big crowded fields. And I was thinking this morning about Lamar Alexander in 1996, and he was wearing his plaid shirts, and everybody thought he was the hot thing for a minute. And obviously, Dole took it. Do you think this is Lamar Alexander in 1996 or Barack Obama in 2008?
What was it? Yogi Berra who said it's tough to make predictions, especially about the future. And I think we should remember that whenever we talk about politics these days. But what do we know about Pete Buttigieg? He's bought his way onto the debate stage. I mean, the fact that he's raised $7 million, the fact that he's rising in the polls guarantees he's going to be in those all-important first debates that start this summer. Right there, that gives him a leg up. He's going to have enough money to make it at least through those early primaries because he's building this online presence. And I think what we've seen so far is that he has thought about this a lot. He knows what he wants to say. He knows how to communicate his ideas. He knows how to do it in a way that appeals to the Democratic base often without turning off those who might be on the other side. So he's got a lot of skills. Whether he can go all the way, I don't think anyone knows right now, but he's certainly got some momentum.
Yeah, another point of contact with Trump is both of these people came out of nowhere in crowded fields. Let's talk, before I let you go, about immigration. You've got the president's press secretary, Sarah Sanders, on the show this morning. I imagine you're going to talk about this plan to bus migrants to sanctuary cities. Before we came on the air, you and I were talking about this article in the Associated Press this morning that makes the point that this plan, the winners, couldn't in some way be the migrants because they're going to end up in places where they're protected from the feds, where they're welcomed. Given that, do you think this is truly a serious plan?
Well, the president clearly is pushing it. I mean, the Department of Homeland Security has rejected it at least twice, including in a personal phone call between the president and the former secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen, and he's driving this forward. But as you point out, it seems to run counter to the policy that the president wants. It would actually encourage more migrants to stay longer, to come, and to be able to put down roots. So why he seems to be acting on the idea that somehow this is punishing cities run by Democrats. That's the mindset he's coming at this from. Whether he can get this done, whether it can be paid for, whether it's legal, all big questions on the table. But the president seems pretty driven on this right now.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to learn more on your show this morning. Thank you very much. And I want to remind everybody again, George has a big show. As discussed, he's going to go one-on-one with the White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, plus Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan on jumping into the 2020 presidential race and facing Pete Buttigieg, among others. That's all coming up on This Week right here on ABC. George, thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.